Hey guys, welcome back to the debate chat. So, if you were a fan of us, then you know that we've done a previous Disney debate called Are All Official Disney Princesses Bad Role Models? I said yes. Emily, Ellie, and our previous member Tess said no. But today we're gonna turn this around, and we're gonna say Are all official Disney princesses bad role models? So yeah, me and Ellie are saying they are bad role models, and Emily are saying they're not. So before we start, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts, and yeah, let's get started because I'm really excited for this. The first one is our first one is Prince Florian. So the first time we see this prince is that he's jumping over Snow White's castle walls. And I don't know about you guys, but that is called breaking an entry. So that's not a good sign for anyone. So remember, guys, do
Great
not break
start.
into other people's homes. And then he creeps behind a young maiden. Why is that wrong? Well, I don't know about you. I don't know if you guys realize, but this guy is apparently meant to be 21 or in some versions 31, depending on your point of view. And Snow White is meant to be 14 in the film. If you think that's okay, then you need help, but that is not okay for adult people on the mind. And my last point of all, the worst one of all, do not kiss an unconscious minor. That is not okay. Boom.
Unconscious people don't want tea. Okay, guys, if you haven't seen that video, go watch it because he clearly needs to watch it before he went on his entrance. It's, it's not okay. There's a lot of illegal stuff going on throughout that film,
Yeah,
actually, now that we think about it.
yeah.
Not
Bring it
great.
on, Emily.
Okay, so I want to start off first of all with saying I think the key word for this debate is all. Are all the official Disney princes bad role models? So after doing the series of debates we did on whether the official Disney princesses are bad role models, I've realized something, especially from some of your comments that you guys have left. I think it is important to note that whilst we should take away messages and lessons learned, these characters should still be on a path of learning and they shouldn't be perfect. I mean, if they were perfect, the movie would be very boring. We need to see them grow and evolve and learn things along the way. For example, Tiana from just working every day to learning the importance of friendship and that there is more to life. So all characters in some form or other have done something wrong. So I'm not going to say that they haven't, as it's from there that we get character development, but it also makes them relatable to us because I'm not perfect. Grace thinks she's perfect, but that's a different debate there.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa,
Emily, let's
whoa,
leave
where
the
did that
personal
came
attacks out of
from?
this.
Okay. Anyway, enough with my little babbling on there about that. So I'm going to start talking about the official Disney princes being role models, good or bad, or a mixed. So I think generally, like just with all the princes as well, there are, they do have their bad role model traits, but there is also good as well. So I've already said I'm not going to go through each of them in a lot of detail because again, there is mixed. But if you do want to see an in-depth look at perhaps a certain character, let us know down below. And also, I just want to make it very clear, there is a clear distinction between what is real and what is not. Most of them are based on fairy tales. So events like a magic mirror, that does not happen in real life. Talking animals doesn't happen. So there is a clear distinction, and it's a good way of, educating kids and going, hey, that's not right. Don't do that. But I still remember to this day Grace's why Tiana's a bad role model because she kissed a frog. I still remember that one. That was just oh man, that one. But yeah, that is when parents should go around and say, "Hey, don't kiss a frog."
Let's
But
not
they,
do
but they,
that,
but they should
actually.
also say, "Don't go randomly kissing other people as well." Anyway, okay, Prince Florian. Okay, so one of the points that I could think of for why I mean, I do get your points that you've said, but there is also a good point that I have. He does show that appearances aren't important. So the prince from Snow White comes riding in and he hears a woman singing and he is entranced by her voice. And he looks at the girl and finds a servant girl, a woman dressed up in rags. And she's pretty, but she's not dressed up in the way he would typically expect someone to be dressed up with. Like he would definitely have been growing up seeing, these fancy dresses and, like he would have obviously had this upbringing where these like servants would have just like, they're lower class, they don't matter. But he looks past this and he doesn't care and he still likes her. So he does show one good message there, that appearances aren't important only. There's more to it than that.
Unless you're a child or an adult, the same.
It's very clearly appearances don't matter because he's hitting on a 14-year-old child.
Yeah. Well, that is one of, but that's what I'm saying. Are they all? So if we were to go to the next one, I don't know. I don't want to go through every single one. So Grace, pick one next and just go for it. And then
okay, next one is Prince Charming from Cinderella. So basically, what I have a problem with this guy is that he's got no personality, nothing at all.
Make him a bad role model.
Listen, we don't know anything about this guy. Listen, we don't know anything about this guy. He could be a racist. He could be sexist. He could be a capitalist. We don't know. He could be a bad person.
But because we don't know this, we can't assume that he is that as well. We can't assume that.
He doesn't give much to the plot. He doesn't offer anything. His only position in this film is to be Cinderella's love interest. So he's not very memorable. One last thing is that the guy's pretty dumb as well if he can't remember the face of the woman who he spent an entire night with, dancing and talking. I mean, why the hell do you need shoes to fit someone's feet when you're just trying to remember their face?
I'm basically not hearing any role model points. I'm just hearing there is a problem just with the way that they've portrayed
the role model
character.
is that if you got no personality,
but that does not make him a bad. That's not his fault that they didn't give him personality. So I agree with you. I can't think of one thing that makes him either a good or a bad role model. Like we barely get to see him. I mean, if Grace were to put it, I feel like she would say he's the equivalent of Aurora. Am I wrong? He's the equivalent. That is what.
I think he had like 10 lines. I think.
I don't.
Valid. So basically, what I'm hearing is we're scrapping him from this list.
Basically,
he doesn't even
that's what I'm saying. He's neither a good nor a bad role model because we didn't get to see him at all.
Argument's sake of going through each individual one, because I know we didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Emily, which ones do you think are good role models? And then we can fight our case on why we think they're bad.
Okay. Right. So
that sounds fair.
My point is that they're not all bad role models. So there is also some good. So I'm not saying that there is no bad, but I'm saying there is also some good. So I'm going to start with Flynn Rider. Yeah, the guy is a thief. He betrays the guys he's working with, but he really does change after meeting Rapunzel and getting to know her. In fact, both of them grow and develop. And by the end, he falls in love with her, even though at first what was most important to him was just getting the crown back. And he lets Rapunzel be herself, and he lets her dream as well. He doesn't like hinder her and doesn't close her off. And he ends up even trying to save her as well, even though, she ended up saving him. But yeah, so there is also some good stuff to Flynn, even though there are some bad stuff as well. But again, we're all good and bad.
Yeah, but I feel like there's some bad stuff that overcomes the good bit. So in the beginning, you're right, he does steal the princess crown, but what you forget is that when he was stealing it, it was the only piece of property that the king and queen have to remind them of their lost baby. So that was pretty emotional. Like it's like stealing a toy from your child that you lost years ago. That would be really emotional and heartbreaking. And even though Rapunzel was blackmailing him at first to see the floating lights, Flynn Rider did try to take advantage of Rapunzel, since she was a young, naive girl who had no idea how the real world works. He takes her to the Snuggly Duckling, where they encountered like some ruffies, some like old thugs to scare Rapunzel and try to persuade her into going back to the tower. And also, he later realized that Rapunzel spent her entire life in the tower, with not much human contact whatsoever. So Flynn should have realized that Rapunzel wasn't really ready for a romantic relationship. That's like if you encountered a young girl, like this is like basically counting a young person who was held hostage for 18 years. You should try to help them mentally and emotionally, not going and fall for her in the same day or the next. It's just like that was a bit of a rush.
Don't get me wrong, Tangled is like one of my favorite films. I absolutely love Eugene. He's great. He's a great character, but I do feel like he has some flaws. And if you go into depth, like Grace has, and you actually think about it, you're kind of like, oh, actually, sir, maybe we shouldn't have been doing that. But he does have good and bad qualities. I just feel like if you really look into those bad qualities, they do tend to overstep the good ones. Don't get me wrong, he does have a good character development and good arc, but again, like Grace has said, there's overstepping a couple of boundaries there that I probably hadn't thought of before. Actually, I'm now kind of like, oh, let's take that out of my mind so I can continue watching Tangled from a good slate, please. But yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, Emily. Like there is so much character development for him, but actually thinking about it properly, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe not. Actually,
Yes.
Okay, next one is Prince Naveen. So he starts off as a spoilt brat and a guy that expects everything to just come to him. He doesn't, everything should just come easy. But in my opinion, he's probably, out of all of the princes, he has had like the most character development. He becomes a man who's willing to work, and he sees that there is more to life than just having people do everything for him, like brushing his teeth and whatever all the other stuff that he says that they do for him. And he becomes a partner to the woman he loves. And I especially love the fact that he fell for her first. Like we always, it's always sort of like, oh, but the fact that he fell for her first, it's so cute. And also just getting to see like how much he's changed from being a playboy to seeing that, he changes his opinions because he's like, red, brunette, and all that, during the song when we're human. Like he honestly messed up. But at the end of the day, he does sacrifice his own happiness for Tiana by deciding to get married to Charlotte so that Tiana can have her dream. So again, yes, I know you're gonna come out with a lot of bad stuff about Naveen and all these other ones as well, but there is also some good to them as well. And also there's also a step of, are we taking a bit too far by analyzing them as well, taking away the enjoyment of the movie as well.
Oh,
So don't
no,
take it too much grace for him
you're
because I
spoiling the
like
fun
Princess of the
now.
Front.
You're spoiling the fun. I don't know why you're doing this. So yeah, nothing was spoiled, lazy, and vain. One horrible thing he did in the film was that the moment where Tiana tried to help him by kissing him, and then she got herself transformed into a frog. They escaped from the party and were hanging from like balloons, like balloon strings. And the thing found out that Tiana isn't a princess but a waitress, and he takes back on his word on rewarding her. He said, "Oh, now you're a waitress. I'm not going to reward you. I mean, I don't even have any money, so ha ha." Like he's totally a backstabber now. He just backstabbed her, even though she was willing to help him. That's just cold. He was probably going to do the same to her when if the kiss did work, he probably wouldn't give her the reward. If you
he
think
had
about
no
it.
reward to give her.
Yeah, so he basically was
the whole
going to.
thing
So he
was based
basically
off a
lied in
lie.
the beginning.
Yeah, but again, like I said, there is some good stuff to him as well.
Yeah,
Mm.
of course. It's like there's less of a back story or back problems like there is for Tangled and Eugene.
The only backstory we need is that he's a spoiled, bratty rich kid.
But he changes his ways. But the thing is what it teaches us is that we don't have to be this.
After he backstabs Tiana and lied to her basically in the
Are you
beginning.
telling me you have not lied to anyone at all?
I've lied, but I never backstabbed anyone for my own gain.
I'm sure there are people that we know that have done that as well, but that does not
What, including
make
yourself
them.
or
Yes, myself. Yes, Grace. Yes.
Whoa, no more heated arguments. Okay, I'm bringing it back down. I'm bringing it back down. I'm resonating.
Mediator.
Mediator. We're back in the building. Okay. He
Okay,
has good and bad things. His whole the start of the film is based off of him being a brat. And he's based his whole thing off of a lie and he's backstabbed Tiana. But again, he does have that character development and it shows that you don't have to fit into society's labels in a way. That whole film does show that. And he has his good and his bad. At the beginning, he is very much not a good role model at all. In fact, and it takes him a while to become something of a good role model. And I feel like even at the end, he's still working to become that really good role model, but he's on the path to being.
So my last one I'm gonna end with is Shang. I think personally I've saved the best for last. So he's very different from the other princes. Personally, to me, he's not really done, in comparison, much wrong. And he's one of the princes that he's not merely there as an accessory to the princess. He has a real job and he's hardworking and dedicated. And he doesn't give up despite the obstacles in his path, including the tragic death of his father and having to train some really hard recruits. Like, he honestly struggles with having to train them. And he works towards serving his country, which, you know, is very selfless as well, especially after seeing what happened to his father as well. And even when Mulan's identity is revealed, I do admit, like, that part when he does, you know, just it's a bit, but at the end of the day, he doesn't let her be killed. His duty does tell him that he's like, you know, there should be no women in the army. Like, he should probably just kill her, but he doesn't do that, and he lets her live. And he continues to protect her as well during Shan Yu's attack on the temple, and she protects him as well. So both together, they show that there is a united front. And, you know, he's left with like a small little blade as well. Like, he's got no power and stuff, but he honestly just comes together and helps, and they both do that together. But to me, it is his actions that honestly just make him a great role model. Like, I think out of all the Disney princes, that all of the official Disney princes that there are, I think he is definitely at the top. I'm not saying that there aren't bad stuff, but there is definitely a lot of good as well that he shows for kids.
Yeah, but I think like during that part, he was kind of not really sexist, but biased when he found that Mulan was a woman. Like when he found out that like in the mountains that he left her in the cold, even when she was still recovering from an injury from when she was stabbed by Shang Yu. And when even Mulan came back to him in the city and trying to warn him that Shang Yu is still alive, he ignored her and barked at her that she should go home. That just proves that he thinks that like because of that women are like untrustworthy, that men are more loyal.
I don't think that's what it was though. I think it was
Yeah, you
if
could just
if
see
she was to stay there, she would be killed. She would be killed. She has to try and get away as far as possible, because if she stayed there, the emperor would have no other choice but to kill her, because in that time and in that period, it just wasn't right for women to join the army. And I know.
Am I stepping in?
Yes, you're stepping in,
Okay.
because I think it's
So
time we.
the time in which Mulan is based and the society it's based in is very much male dominated. This is without offending anyone or anything, but it is slightly sexist. Obviously, women weren't allowed to go and fight. Everything like that is happening, and he does have those qualities in him because that's society he's been brought up in. So whether or not that's basing off of him or if it's basing off the society, we do have that message throughout the film that he is also portraying that women aren't allowed to do the same things as men. It does develop, and obviously he doesn't kill Mulan. However, he does leave her in a very vulnerable state for the fact that he doesn't kill her himself, but there is a very high chance that she could have died out there. It was just more that there wasn't blood on his hands. It was just kind of left up to fate. And obviously, Mulan being the strong character that she is, she did die. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the rest of the film, and it would have had a very abrupt ending. But at the end, he does switch his mind up. He does help her defeat the villain. It just does take some persuading, and whether that or not that persuading is him changing his mind at the end, or if maybe Mulan, like, well, she was the only hope they had at defeating him, and whether he realized that at the end, and he finally realized, oh, okay, like I really need to help her because otherwise, no one else is going to be able to do this. It does show his opinions changing, and whether they started to change halfway through the film or whether that was a firm change at that point in time. They do start to change, and again, he's starting to become a better role model than he originally was at the start of the film.
I'm gonna say Philip first because I feel like I'm gonna get a bit more reaction from you, Emily.
Okay.
So first of all, with Prince Philip, again, kissing an unconscious girl is not okay. And one thing, it's
fairy tale. It's a fairy tale.
No, but it's not right. Also, there's a thing. I think you guys are gonna agree with this. I think he did manipulate Aurora in the film. So during the song "Once Upon a Dream,"
I don't know where this is going.
scene when Aurora said, "It's just that you're Philip, a stranger," and he said, "But don't you remember we met before? We have, of course. You said so yourself. Once upon a dream." So what I think is he listened to her singing and realized Aurora is a sweet, young, naive woman. He hears that she met a man, her true love, in a dream. And Philip swoops right in and says to Aurora that he was the one that he met in the dream. Using this context, even though we definitely have no idea that he actually had a similar dream, but he's using this to manipulate Aurora into believing him and actually starting to like him.
Yeah, I mean, again, none of them are perfect. And again, it's very important to make that distinction between fairy tale, not fairy tale. Very important. That's when parents need to come in and say,
manipulative?
yeah, I do. But there is also some good stuff as well. I'm not saying that they're completely all bad. That's the thing. I'm saying there is also some good. He does teach us to be courageous and not to back away when something appears impossible. Like having a dragon right there and having to fight it, like, Jesus. And he's also willing to stand up for himself. He was betrothed and he ends up falling in love. I don't know if you want to call it falling in love, but whatever it is.
Yeah, same.
He ends up falling in love with someone else who does end up being the same person in a weird way. But he was willing to break away from this arranged marriage, which in that time just would not ever happen because an arranged marriage just had to happen. And he was willing to marry the girl he loves.
One person, I think Aladdin, besides being a thief, and I don't technically blame.
Don't mention catfish. I don't want to hear catfish in this.
Yeah, I understand that he's living a tough life. He's living in the rough and cruel world. But he is a manipulator. He was willing to fool Jasmine and the entire kingdom of Agrabah by pretending to be a prince. So he tried to flirt with Jasmine as Prince Ali, pretending to be someone he isn't, lying to her. There is another word, and that's catfishing. Another manipulation is that he tried to plead with Genie that he wants to use his last wish to keep on pretending. And even though he promised Genie that he would use his third wish to set him free, he's basically keeping his new friend in prison for the rest of his life just so Aladdin could gain what he wants.
But again, we do see some good points to Aladdin. He is kind to others. He does give that bread to the kids. Even though he is starving, he does give that to them. He also, I know there's what you said again with the wishes and the genie, but he does, at the end of the day, he does sacrifice his one wish to free the genie. He also does show friendship towards Genie. I know it's, again, a bit of a problem again, but all friendships do have their problems. But he doesn't sort of like take advantage of Genie. He doesn't he treats him with respect, and he's not he's not like a servant or anything. He does treat him with something as like a friend, even though there are rocky parts of their relationship, and he is also brave as well at the end of the day as well. So again, yes, I do agree with your points, but he also does have some good points as well.
Right. Next one is John Smith. Now he's basically a colonizer. Is that the word? Yeah. So basically, he's just another white Englishman who thinks he has ownership over the new world. And he makes quick judgments on Pocahontas, such as calling her and the tribe savages and assuming that the way they are living is not properly correct and that they don't know as well as he does. And he's got little personality and he acts very arrogant and just, yeah, stupid.
Oh gosh. Okay. First of all, there is a lot of controversy about the movie Pocahontas and the way she's been portrayed and everything, but we're going to step aside from that and we're just going to focus on John Smith. So he is gentle with her when he first sees her, you know, like you would think that he would go off and he'd just kill her or something. But in fact, compared to the rest of his crew, he has got a gentler and kinder soul. And he also sacrifices himself for other people. We see this especially when his friend shoots Kocoum and he takes the blame. He's willing to die for one of his teammates. You know, his upbringing would have him thinking like his crew, you know. There's this prejudice against Pocahontas, but he overcomes this prejudice that's built in him. And he's willing to learn and understand her culture and what Pocahontas shows him. So again, we get to see this really nice character development. And yes, there are things that he needs to work on. But hey, I do as well. So do both of you, I hope, as well. But again, there are good stuff and bad things about him. Ellie, do you not want to say anything?
Yeah.
I feel like I am definitely more on Grace's side for this one. Obviously, for the good and bad ones, I was kind of there for the main three. But this is just one I can't really get behind. I get what you mean. Like, there's all stuff that we can develop on, but these are just things that need to be developed on a bit too much. You know, they're more than just development. They are bad things. And don't get me wrong, he is better than the rest of his crew, but he is still part of that crew for a reason. And his whole intention for coming to this new world was to do any of that. So he just happened to be a little bit softer with a pretty gal who he saw across the river. He was like, "Oh, she's pretty. Let's make an impression on her."
Yeah, you know what? If it was a man
glorious
that he
then aggressive.
You know what? If John Smith actually met a Native American man, he would probably shoot him. So I think he was just trying to be a bit flirtatious with Pocahontas.
Maybe. But at the end of the day, there are some good stuff to him as well. Even though they might be very
as much
minor.
as a good yeah, very, very small. Next one is Prince Eric. So he says he wants to marry the girl with the most beautiful voice. Sure, I'm guessing he's quite biased against people who are mute. I don't know why. This also proves
getting this from.
This is also proven where he first meets Ariel again on the beach, and when she couldn't actually speak, he said to her directly in a disappointing tone, like, "Oh, so you can't be the one who I thought." Like, he didn't give her a chance to just try to introduce herself. I mean, he just turned her down instantly without second thought. And he could have just thought, oh, you know, maybe the woman who did save him had a cold the next day and now she couldn't speak. I don't know, just be a bit more sensible.
Again, I agree with you. There are also some good stuff to Eric as well. Though, you know, I don't have a very good love relationship for the Little Mermaid in general. First of all, he risks his own life to save his dog. For any animal lover out there, you know, that is very up there. He refuses to marry any princess and he wants to choose one of his own. So he wants to follow his own path. He wants to, you know, follow his heart. And again, I get what you were saying, Grace, but he does have that determination to just follow his own heart. He is also brave as well. He went out and battled Ursula, which I definitely would not be doing that. I would be at home putting on a movie and just calling it a day. But yeah, very slight good stuff to him. But there is, again, some good stuff to him. Good traits about Prince Eric as well. So not all bad.
Well, there are some good and bad things. It's just whether those slight good things definitely outweigh the bad. So there might be slight good things, but you know, a bad person, like this is going very far and not in the Princess General, but a a serial killer could open the door for someone, and that's a nice thing that they've done. But that doesn't mean that they're a good role model because they're off killing people every Saturday night. So it's just kind of like, what defines the good and the bad, and what outweighs what? Of course, there's good and bad in everyone, but if the bad outweigh it so much, it just kind of cancels out any good acts that they do. And I love the Little Mermaid doing it. Kind of love the Little Mermaid. Loved it as a child. Now kind of seeing the questionable acts to
Sorry. That was probably because of me and Grace, huh?
Yeah,
God, you there.
you guys ruined it. But I do feel like Eric was kind of very superficial, and the whole point of the film is like fall in love with Ariel because of her looks. Like, she doesn't actually get to say who she is or what she likes or what she does. Like, Sebastian's singing is kiss the girl, like do all this. She looks amazing. She looks so pretty in this boat. Go kiss her. Like, no, guys, what is with the Disney princes and not having consent, please? And all underage girls as well. Let's find it back on that, please, a little bit.
Yeah, and well, since you mentioned serial killers, Ellie, so we're going to our last one is the Beast, Last Adam. So not really a serial killer, but a psychopath for sure. So he kidnapped and held Belle hostage. Same with our father. He's technically the core reason why the whole cast of servants and himself are trapped and are transformed into different objects or a beast. It's all because he's got a snotty and bratty behavior that led them into this situation. He was rude, he was angry, and he's very disrespectful. The only reason why the beast wants Belle around is that so she can break the curse. You heard the phrase, "You made your bed, now lie in it." The beast is technically making a bed and is forcing Belle to lie in it. He caused himself and the servants to be cursed, and he wants to drag Belle into it and force her to be responsible for breaking the curse. That's not right to force someone into fixing something that you are the cause for creating it in the first place.
This brings back so many flashbacks to that debate we did on Stockholm Syndrome. So many flashbacks there. So many. And yes, again, there is a lot of stuff that can be said about the Beast. But again, he does have a few good things. One of them is that he shows that it is possible to change and to become a good person, which tells us that even though, we might start off as a horrible, selfish, rude person, as he was Beast, whatever, we can always change, and change is possible. As Rafiki says, change is good. So, yes, change is possible. Again, another movie I'm not a fan of, but yeah.
So you're sort of on my side.
Yeah, I am, sort of. But again, there is a few good stuff as well.
Yeah, Emily's take on this is that they're not all bad role models. She's given us the good role models, and she's showing that again, Ellie, they're not all bad.
You're on my side. You're meant to agree that they're all bad.
No. I'm just stating what Emily said. I'm not switching sides. I'm just stating that Emily has said that, debating that they're not all bad role models. There are some good role models, and there are some good factors to the bad ones. But going back on the Beast, he was literally changed into the person that he was. He was changed into a beast because in human form he was a beast. So he was changed. His outward looks were changed into what his inner person was. Proper words left during that sentence, but you guys got what I meant. And he is able to change back, and that does show that he is changing and developing. But the whole point of the film was he was cursed because he was really selfish and horrible and a bad person.
I feel like Emily is just keeping calm and trying to find inner peace and just try not to react so much.
Inner peace. Nah, this one was a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. This debate, was a hard
really
one.
Well. You've done really well, and you did unpick the question, and you were right. It is, are all Disney princesses bad role models? And there are some good ones in there, but at the end of the day, it does weigh out to whether what's good and what's bad about the person, whether those bad actions outweigh those good ones. And again, just like the Disney princesses, and from all your comments, it is about the development of those actions. But some of these princes aren't that redeemable, while some of them might be. Again, maybe preference, but also kind of not preference if you are agreeing with the psychopath, children-loving princess. Let's not agree with those ones, guys. Let's stick with consent and people of age.
Because we do have a new official Disney princess, Raya, who's joined the lineup. We will also do a video on her, whether she is a good role model or not as well. So stay tuned for that as well.
Ooh, upcoming video planned, guys. Get ready for that one to come out. Do you guys agree with us? Are there any that you think we should have gone back on that are actually good role models, or ones that are actually pretty bad ones? Is there any other debates that you guys want us to do? There are a lot on our channel if you haven't gone and seen them already. We've got loads of other Disney ones. There are some Marvel ones on there. Or if you just want to chill out and watch a film with us, go ahead and do that as well. There's lots of different ones on there for you and a bit for everyone. So, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Because we'll follow you back. So, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, night, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.